Hey YouTube, what's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again with another video. My This is news and views and my views on some of the news that's out here, right? So, oi to the bay. Um, Bonjour, mes amis, vossas los, konnichiwa, ni hao, ni hama, kedu, and bawani. All right, this stuff is really starting to just really make me angry. And not because of stories, it's not the story, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. All right, and this one is Obama's black women create a culture of violence down to the feminist black teachers fighting at school. All right, and I'll explain what I mean by Obama's black women. These are the women that Obama pandered to. These are the women that Obama put in positions. These are the women that Obama credit for him being elected. Obama, his policy and him himself have done more damage to the black family and the black men that should be leaders. And I'm not talking about the thugs and drug dealers and everything. I'm talking about the hard working black men. He has done so much damage to the image of those kind of black men. And then I was like, well, maybe it makes sense. Is because he's not hanging out with Tavis Smiley or people like that will challenge him on what he could do in a positive way for the black community. He don't hang out with black Republican or conservative leaning black men. No, he's hanging out with Jay-Z and Beyonce. Remember the phrase when Michelle Obama said that she would like to be like Beyonce? And just remind you that at the time, Beyonce didn't even have a GED. So you have a Harvard or Yale, whatever education she was, an established lawyer, a person that was holding it down for the black man that was soon to become president, and who she wanted to be like was uh, uh basically a hoe at the time that got by on shaking her booty to influence little girls and homosexuals. See what I'm saying? And that's who she wanted to be like. All right. So we got all this violence, and basically, you have the manipulation of the mentality of men, but it starts when they're boys. And this is going to be kind of a compare and contrast, contrast. And there's a little okey doke in here, crack of food, if I might add. And it has to do with this boy that I thought was a girl on the left. All right. Now, there's the boy on the right. Xavier Dawson died in December, shielding three females from gunshots. So he gave his life to protect three females. He was held as a hero by Obama because he gave his life to protect these three black girls. Right? His cousin got shot in the head after attending a basketball game on the wrong side of town, and he was with his father for a visit. Now, I was going to put the his father making comments up, And I still, well, I was going to put pictures of his father making comments up for one reason and one reason only, to show you that his father did not live in the neighborhood or the home where his mother lived. And you'll see that in a minute. So he was not being raised by his father. His father had visitation, would come by taking places. I don't know how often, and that's where this happened. But I do know that he was not being raised by his father. He was being raised by nothing but women, and his father got to visit. A man getting to visit is not raising, right? But that's what black women think. So here's more to the story. So he was shot, and y'all could follow that story if you want to see if they catch the guys. He was caught in a crossfire. But the point is, there are no men to raise these boys, not even at the church. These boys are led by a woman pastor at the church that they mentioned in the news clip that's going to come up. Black women are running the black family into the ground and to hell. Check this out.
In a 12-year-old Juwan Latham was killed in a shooting that police say was gang-related during a cookout at Danny Mayfield Park. This happened over the weekend, and police say Juwan was sitting in his father's car when that shooting broke out between people at the gathering and people in cars driving by.
Latham is the cousin of Xavion Dobson, a teenager who died while protecting his friends from gunfire back in December. Tonight, a powerful plea from Juwan's family, urging those responsible to turn themselves in. 10 News reporter Rashad Hardnett spoke to Juwan's mother and grandmother, and Rashad, they don't want his death to be in vain.
Robin and John, they don't, and that's why they're demanding justice for Juwan. His mom says he was a bright and loyal kid, and only now she's starting to realize just how many lives he touched.
We'll get into that later. Bright and loyal.
Her son, Juwan Latham, as fun-loving and passionate.
Loved basketball, loved his family, loved his friends, just was loyal to anything that he was a part of.
Police say he was killed in gang violence Saturday night, an innocent bystander with dreams to play in the NBA and admiration for his hero and cousin, Xavion Dobson.
Yeah, they were close. He had so many questions about what happened to Xavion. It's just, I can't even remember half of them, but I had to answer a lot of questions.
2 days later, the family is still trying to answer its own
Pay
questions.
attention to
and the only thing I think about when
the continence of these women.
See these news flashes is the latest angel we'll probably ever see again in life. It came close to our home.
In this home, the community support has poured in. Delandra says she's
And I want you to pay attention to the
just
pictures,
how many
too.
lives he touched.
It feels good to know that my son had that impact on so many people. And to know that everybody is reaching out to help us through, it's a lot. It feels good. It helps.
For now, they're embracing one another, and as they hold on to the memories they'll never forget, the family has one plea for whoever caused this pain.
I pray that God forgives you and you come forward and admit to what you've done.
That's probably the only one that had real tears.
The family says that's the only way to end this cycle of retaliation. They're just hoping the people responsible come forward. Robin and John.
Rashad, thank you.
Juwan's funeral is set for Thursday at Overcoming Believers Church. Visitation starts at 5:30, and the funeral will follow at 6:30.
All right, now, the Overcoming Believers Church is a woman pastor. A lot of these churches in the black community are being led by women. All right, you don't really see this in the white community because they ain't having it, right? So you got these women pastors leading these things, and so there is no direction for boys to become men at all in the black community anymore. All right, but I want you to pay attention to these news clips, and I'm going to point out some things when I'm done.
I'm Mark Packer. Thanks for joining us on First at 4.
And I'm Amanda Hara in for Lauren Davis. We were first to tell you about that deadly shooting on Saturday night. The next day, we learned Juwan was Xavion Dobson's young cousin. Today we're learning more about what led to the 12-year-old's death.
Local 8 News reporter Donovan Long is live at Danny Mayfield Park where the shooting happened. Donovan, this is right next to Maynard School in East Knoxville, right?
That's correct, Mark. That 12-year-old is yet another victim of gang violence like his cousin, Xavier Dobson. In fact, the accident occurred right here at Danny Mayfield Park in the area in which I am standing. Now, according to the family, Lathan's father took him to the Bobby Mays celebrity basketball game Saturday night just before his death. The two were headed to see a movie, but first stopped by a block party at Danny Mayfield Park at the intersection of College Street and Moses Avenue. Knoxville police say that's where gunmen exchanged fire. One of the bullets struck Latham. Chief David Roush has made gang violence one of his top priorities, and he's asking for the public's help to put those responsible behind bars immediately. But no sentence, bond, or confession will bring the Bearden Middle School boy back. The only thing Latham's family is left with are fond memories. Now, earlier today, I spoke with Juwan Latham's best friend, and he was very, very emotional. He told me how he's choosing to remember Latham and the fond memories they shared. Hear more from that interview tonight at 6. Live in Mechanicsville, Donovan Long, Local 8 News.
All right. Now, I'm about to put this clip up that shows this boy, and I want you to pay attention to his countenance too. All right. So you look at the faces of the women we just seen, to include his sisters and stuff. Pay attention to his home, his home environment. Look at even the guys that spoke. All right. Now keep in mind that there is no real man in sight. I mean, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. Y'all can see who's speaking. And let me take that comment back about real men. There is no semblance of a good man in sight, which is why they're living in such a dangerous area, right? And the area is dangerous because there are no good men, period, in there. So pay attention.
Latham, his best friend, went to school this morning with, of course, as you can imagine, a heavy heart. Local 8 News reporter Donovan Long spoke to his buddy who is holding on to the good memories they shared. Donovan.
Yeah, Amanda, good evening. A very, very emotional interview with Christopher Cherry. He did tell me, though, he believes Juwan Latham is in a much better place. He cried tears of grief this afternoon when I spoke to him as he remembered the day he learned his best friend was gone. Although Cherry knows nothing will ever replace his buddy, he's grateful he can fill his emptiness with the great memories he shared with Juwan. But it wasn't just spending time together or playing games that captivated Cherry. It was Latham's character that helped the two boys build a strong bond.
He was a good friend. He was really a good person. I like the way he treated me.
Yes, Christopher was very emotional when I spoke with him. You know, he told me he's just left relishing in the good moments that he shared with Juwan. Coming up tonight, you'll hear more on how he's honoring the legacy of his best friend. Live in Mechanicsville, Donovan Long, Local 8 News.
All right, Donovan, thanks. A devastating loss for so many young people, especially. We're going to hear how they're coping with this loss at 6.
All right, now pay attention to what he said the child said, right? Relishing in the memory. All right, so the news took a little liberty to add some stuff in, right? There's not really an indication of real sadness, and I was disappointed when I started to put this together last night, and I was just really thinking, right? And then I started to save some of the pictures of Juwan, and I had a struggle within myself. Do I want to save a picture of this boy when he's throwing up gang signs? And these pictures were all over Google, all over the internet, and all over his Facebook, right? And so when I saw and understood that they're trying to manufacture this story, it's a sad story, but they're trying to manufacture it to be heart-wrenching And I said, why are they manufacturing? Why don't they just tell the news, right? I'll go back to put some of those pictures up to show you what this guy was really like and what this mother of his was really raising, right? And here's the result. That's right. Most of his pictures were taken down. They left the ones up where he wasn't throwing up gang signs. When they first showed the pictures, he was throwing up gang signs. He had his shirt. That's why he had his shirt buttoned all the way up. Um, I mean, and he had a bunch of them with gang signs, with gun signs. And I was like, why would they take those pictures down? Those pictures um overnight disappeared off the internet unless somebody else decided to save some. Hopefully somebody else is going to do give their take on this story. All right, so this is a sad story, but it's being manufactured for more sympathy. All right, so where do I go? All right, so you got these little boys, these boys dying because their home life is crap, because there's no real good men to help teach them to be men and think like men. They can't go to church and at least get any kind of manhood from a preacher, because the churches that these women are now putting their boys in are now run by women. Oh, and the women are going to give their point of view and teach them stuff like homosexuality is okay in the church. This is what you got when you have women leading churches. When you have women pastors, everything is okay because it's all about the way you feel. And if you could pray to Jesus, he'll forgive everything for you, because for Christianity, there are no rules. There is only the way you feel. Then you pray about it. And when you pray about it, you don't have to ever make nothing right with the people you harm. All you got to do is pray about it and everything will be okay. Because the white Jesus, he'll come and save you. You see what I'm saying? So these black children can't get direction at home because there's no strong man there. Remember, it says if you want to destroy the home, bind the strong man. That would be the good men. Bind them from having the presence in the home. So the black women did this with the laws in the United States. People like Obama made it easy and made laws so that black women can do this and destroy the household. All right. So there's no direction at home. There's no spiritual direction at all. It was bad when it's just Christian, but now it's the women with their feelings and stuff like that. That's why all these dudes are out shooting up the streets instead of being in church or being at home, because it's bad everywhere. They don't want to go to church and learn lies. They can see that their mom can't control them. All right. And so, you got the home, you got the church. Well, at least there's school. Oh, my bad. These are two teachers. These are two teachers fighting at school. These are two teachers fighting at school. And the students have to break it up. And you see a bunch of female students around there, two teachers fighting at school, and the students have to break it up. When the black dark one starts to get real violent, you hear some knucklehead in the background going, yeah, 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 yeah. So basically, I guess white teachers do this too, in school, around black children. You see what I'm saying? What's wrong with the black woman in the United States? I'm going to tell you what's wrong. Everybody has placated her and gave her all this. She hasn't earned nothing. They gave it to her to destroy good black men, and now they're destroying each other. You got to think, what is wrong when students have to break up a fight between two teachers? Here's my final thoughts. We all know we've been led to this point by cracker food, right? And I would say, and I will say this, Isaiah 3 and 12, my people, youth exert pressure on them and women rule over them. O my people, your leaders, the women, cause you to stray and swallow up the way of your path. Now I put the King James Version on here too. It says, as for my people, children are their oppressors and women rule over them. O my people, they, the women, which lead thee, cause thee to err and destroy the way of your path, of thy path. With that said, I'm out.